So, what do you guys want to talk about?
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother. Put out the caution tape. Put out the orange cones. Acknowledge me.
It's Monday, and you know what that means. I am Boris Roberto Aguilar, and you are listening to the newest wrestling radio show here in Canada, A+ Wrestling. A+ Wrestling would not be possible without amazing tag team partners like T.O. Boat Tours. T.O. Boat Tours, Ontario's premier boat tour experience, where adventure meets relaxation on the stunning waters of Canada's most beautiful lakes and rivers in Ontario. That's T.O. Boat Tours for all booking and additional information. This show is part of the A+ Productions and A+ Wrestling Podcast Network, and now part of the KPHR family. That's Cat Power Hit Radio. We're more than just a weekly radio show, and we actually have a slew of shows for you each and every single week over on the A+ Productions Podcast Network, where we talk sports, entertainment, and then we bring it all together to talk some sports entertainment, also known as wrestling. You can find us on any podcasting platform as A+ Productions, but if you really just want to listen to our wrestling shows, you can do so by going to any podcasting platform and searching for A+ Wrestling. We can also be found online at aplusproductions.com and on all of the social medias as at A+ Productions. And we want you to be part of the conversation, and the best place for that is by going over to the Facebook group and searching for A+ Productions. Last week, the doors were forbidden in England. This week, there were clashes in Paris, France, even with the fans apparently, and there was a lot of dishonorable things happening in Philadelphia. So much has happened over the past few days in the world of professional wrestling. So because of that, and as always, here with me is Demand Lucha's Hutch. Hutch, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, dude. Clash in Paris, like literally just finished watching Clash in Paris like moments ago. So like, yeah, it's been a hell of a wrestling weekend.
Yeah. When we talked earlier this weekend, you were watching some ROH. Man, it's been a very, very good weekend of wrestling, I think. And I think that a lot of people that I've talked to kind of agreed overall. We're also going to talk about, well, some other things that have happened throughout this week, including a predicament with Sami Zayn. Hutch, we're gonna get to that later on in this show, but we only have an hour. So with that said, as we always do, we're going to be taking a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking some WWE Clash in Paris, plus Ring of Honor, and so much more. So you're listening to A+ Wrestling here on KPHR, and we'll be right back.
Are you ready to embrace the dark side? Introducing the Bring Bad News to the Dark Side Season 7 Unisex Tee from the exclusive official Bad News Allen Canadian Collection. Now on sale at WrestlingSuperstars.shop. Don't be a spineless cockroach. Grab yours today before they're gone. Head to WrestlingSuperstars.shop now.
And we are back here on KPHR, and you are listening to A+ Wrestling. He is Hutch. I am Boris. WWE Clash in Paris just wrapped up a few hours ago, and we're going to be talking all things Clash in Paris, Ring of Honor, and so much more. Again, sometimes an hour is just not enough, but we managed to do it, Hutch. Let us start with some WWE Clash in Paris. Overall, what did you think of this show?
Well, first of all, Logan Paul is an absolute natural. Like, I'm really starting to like Logan Paul. Wayne Barrett is an absolute natural. I love Wade Barrett in so many ways. And although Nikki Bella is not natural. I am starting to like Nikki Bella now. I'm not like this. I don't know why. I was enjoying this match, and like, man, was I ever not a Nikki Bella fan? Is it because of Becky Lynch? Maybe. I mean, like, Becky, the ending of the show made me realize that Becky's just like, she's just a fucking Irish gal that hung out in gyms and drank, and like, she's just a freaking gal. Like, she's fucking cool.
One of the guys.
Like, yeah, she's cool.
We would invite her to, Sunday with the boys. Like, that is the type of person that Becky Lynch is. I have friends like that, and it's just like, she's just one of us, one of them. Like, it's so natural at it, knows how to get heat, knows how to talk on the mic, and most importantly, talented in the ring. But that match with Nikki, man, I think this was Nikki's, like, one of her worst matches, performances. And again, it is I don't like, look, I'm the last person that should ever talk about an athletic performance, but there were miscues. That's what I'm going to call them, miscues in that match. We're going to talk about that. Overall, Clash in Paris, I thought was it's hard, man. It was good, but I kind of felt like I wanted more. I kind of felt like it was a amuse-bouche to a bigger event, and I don't know what that event is just yet.
All right, well, do you want to go through the card?
Let's go through that. So we started things off with the Shula Fala Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman versus Roman Reigns. Right away, the first thing that stuck out to me was that French crowd. Number one, let's take a step back. That tifo that the fans had, made by the fans for the fans because they love it. It just reminds me of a good European soccer crowd, not the quote unquote hooligans. It's the people who absolutely love the game for the game. It was awesome seeing that in professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, this crowd was like from beginning to end all the way through. And in fact, I got to give that to the crowds like everywhere this weekend. The ROH crowd in Philly, like they made that show like awesome. And the crowd here tonight, like 1, 2, sacre bleu. Yeah. I mean, that was freaking awesome. And most of their chants were in French, but 1, 2 rhymes better with blue, so they went with the English for that. But then for the 10 counts in the corner, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, okay, this crowd is awesome. And I felt like chants started, like it didn't start, like a chant would end and another one would start right away, and it wasn't like 2 or 3 people. It was like half the crowd would start the next chant. I'm like, this was the most in tune with each other crowd ever. It was pretty awesome. It made this whole show.
Honestly, I feel like the footy supporter groups took over and had capos. Like, I would love to have a camera just in the crowd to see how they coordinate this, because it really did remind me a lot of football supporters. The other thing that I really appreciated about this crowd is that they didn't overdo certain chants. Yeah, there were some repeated, but it didn't get to the point where I wanted to mute my TV.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I hadn't thought about that, but that's very, very true.
Damn straight.
Yeah, I didn't get annoyed.
There we go. Perfectly said.
All right, so
get annoyed.
I got it. I really liked the screen, with coming out. Like, I like the entrance for some reason this time, with like like the weird 3D-ness of the screen, and then like the Eiffel Tower and everything, and Bronson Reed coming out first like looked pretty goddamn awesome.
Yeah, the somewhat uniqueness of the set. It was a big ass screen, but they had the Eiffel Tower kind of built in there. It just looked really cool. I'm not going to say it reminded me of the Attitude Era when every set was different, but this did add a, dare I say, je ne sais quoi to the entire show. Yeah.
And like, why was I surprised that Bronson Reed came out by himself? I was expecting like the Entourage or something like that. It was nice just to see him come out and get his glory. And weirdly enough, when Paul Heyman put up his finger, he looked very much like a video game character. Like, that's the CG they're going to end up using, because he looked so awkward. I'm like, that's going to be our mocap right there, just because he looked so weird. And he's losing weight too. I'm hoping that it's health and not health, if that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean by that.
Right.
I love the way that you said that. Listeners, if you don't know what he means, send us a DM. We'll let you know. And I don't mean that in a weird way. I just mean that I thought that was brilliant. All right, Roman Reigns, Bronson Reed. I didn't know what to expect from this match. I feel that this match had a weird setup. It had a great go-home segment last week on Raw that really made this match. Hutch, I don't know about you. Like, I don't need every single week to be an amazing setup for the match. Yes, that's what you're trying to do. But a lot of people are giving these guys a lot of hell and shit for not like being on their, quote unquote A game. But I feel that they did have a good go home segment last week, made me pumped enough for this match, but I still wasn't sure what to expect from this match. And this match was just, Roman Reigns is just being as athletic can be, and Bronson Reed, this was like the most Jonah I've ever seen Bronson Reed since his return.
Dude, yeah. Some Jonah Rock action. I love it. That's, for if you're going to email us or send us a message, that's his original name on the indies, but I'm sure if you're listening to this show, you know that. Give me a break. But how does Roman Reigns get that little bit in his stomach that like goes in?
Right?
Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like, what's with that? Like, I could do that if I'm doing it. Like, can he hold it for the whole match? Like, and, I heard that Abdullah the Butcher once, I'm trying to remember who was telling the story, but he held a fart for like 5 hours while some guy's wife was in the car. So, I mean, it could be done. You can, right? So maybe he's holding it in the whole match, but how does he have that there? I don't know. But speaking of how Roman Reigns looks and his body and his like super shiny white teeth, and like he should have been the guy to team up with Jelly Roll, the two of them with their big white fake teeth. Like, what's up, guys? But speaking of body shaming or commenting on Roman Reigns' body, even if it's positive, it's looked down upon these days. I will body shame Reed, but like not in a bad way. I mean, he's like all bark and no bite, and funny that the dog guy is his partner, Braun Breaker. Roof, roof. Yep. But he just seems like it's all bark, no bite. In the end run, it's going to be Breaker kicking his ass one day, and you said you didn't know what to expect, and I can see why. Like, the opportunity to swerve us or have something happen was there. If you were ever going to do it, Bronson Reed is kind of at his peak here with his Shula Fala twice. It's not just a single pair now. He's at that point where the win would do him huge right here, right now, and Roman Reigns could probably recover. Obviously, he's Roman Reigns, but I'm not surprised about anything that happened on this entire card. And this card came out of nowhere for me. I knew Clash in Paris was coming up, but then suddenly I was like, what matches are happening? And the four-way, I was like, the four-way. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I started to remember some of the build. I'm like, oh yeah. Like, so you can't blame them for that go home segment you were talking about, because they haven't had a lot of time. They're doing an average of a pay-per-view or a PLE every 3 weeks right now. So give them a bit of a break.
Yeah, exactly. You were gonna say Clash of Champions. I want to say Clash of the Castle. Oh my God, we're
dude. Did I say Paris? Did I say Champions?
No, you were going to. It sounded like you started saying it, but then switched halfway through before you said the C. But
dude, did you see it? Netflix had it as Clash at the Castle on the screen, and then the first line of the explanation is Clash in Paris is a blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my God! But the actual title when I was watching it was Clash at the Castle, like episode 2 or something. And I'm like,
yeah. So that's what they did. It's Clash in the Castle. It's the way that Netflix does their separation of shows, right? Because they, for whatever reason, had it all together, and it's all I can get into.
Dude, as somebody that has a lot of wrestling content that I have talked to streaming services about, built my own service and blah, 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 all the hoops over the different years that we've been doing this. A lot of services cannot get over the seasons and episodes concept.
Yep.
Even one of them, I had to really talk with them, and they kind of rebuilt a back end, and I felt like I was harassing them a bit, but they were like, no, this is great. Like, nobody's ever like talked to us like this or wanted this. And I was explaining, like dates are important. Like the metadata of who's in the matches is important. I was like, turnaround is important, but it can't be, the way you guys have this set up can't be this way. And they were like, and they started to understand where I was coming from. And they were like, okay, we get it now. And I was like, all right, cool.
So it's very interesting. Awesome. That's a very interesting conversation for another day and another show. But with this match, I have to say, I like this match overall. And while I wasn't sure what to expect, I kind of knew Roman Reigns was going to win, but I was really, really hoping that Bronson Reed would somehow get the win. But Hutch, here's a question for you, especially as someone who helps produce and yada, 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 right? And this is a conversation I love to have, because nowadays a lot of wrestling fans equate a loss with getting buried. Can you please explain that Bronson Reed was not buried in this match?
Well, obviously, I do not think that he was buried in this match. You're prompting me to say that, so I will agree with you. But I do think this was, like I was saying, if there was a time to have him win, this is it. He wasn't in the WWE's eyes, he wasn't buried. I mean, he's the first guy ever to like stop a spear cold like a mountain, like boom, just catching Roman Reigns and stopping him cold. But then, in my opinion, you put a guy over after that. This is how you push your Bozillas and your Ronda Singhs and your Brock Lesnars. They come in and they boom, they do it. Yeah. Your Vader against an Inoki. Like, you want to put a guy over. This is how you do it. But he's not buried because he's in the top faction and he's working with Seth, and it doesn't take much to get a guy over.
And he got the last laugh. Yeah, he lost the match, but he got the last laugh in this segment. So for me, he took the L, but he grabbed the overall W.
Yeah, well, classic, heel face dynamic. They lose, but then they keep their heat because they beat down the baby face. Like, understandable. But it was all Breakker. Like, this is a very one-sided partnership here. And like I was saying, it's all bark, no bite on one side, and all bark and bite on the other. I just don't see him as much of a threat. It's weird, and I should.
You know what it is? I'm gonna be 100%. I'm a Jonah Mark, so like, I just want Bronson Reed to just. He reminds me of me, right? That's what it is. I'm like, dude, you do you, bro. You do you.
I'm a huge Jonah Mark as well. Like, when his short time in PWG, his win over Okada in the G1, like he can be a monster in the right scene. On the indies, he was a big man around smaller people, speedballs and things like that. In Japan, he's a monster. And WWE, they can make him if they decide to. If they're like, all right, we're going to start putting you over. But he could very easily just be mid-card heel, like, forever. And that might be where he's going to be, man. He could be the next Rusev.
Yep, that's nothing wrong with that also. All right, after the match, Roman Reigns gets the shoes back after choking Paul Heyman out. He's signing them. He's throwing them to the crowd. And then Braun Breaker with 2 Ks beats the living shit out of him after a spear through the table. And I have to say, segments like this always make me laugh. And Wade Barrett, to his credit, I love Wade Barrett. I really do. And he does a great job of kind of covering for certain things. Where was Jey Uso during this entire beatdown? He doesn't come until like 10 minutes into the third beatdown. And Wade Barrett says, he's too focused on his match later. But Roman Reigns gets his ass kicked, taken out by a stretcher after a few tsunamis, a few spears, and then some.
I do commentary on the regular, and that's exactly what I would say. If it was taking a while, I might be like, we got to get somebody out here. Where the hell is anybody? Like, and I sometimes might feel stupid if I started that rhetoric too early. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm saying this for like the 4th or 5th time now. Now, in my particular indie promotion, I'm also an authority figure. So I can like sometimes get up from the desk and make a huge, people will look over at me, and I'll like run backstage once I see a couple of fans like look over and make a fuss to the fact that I'm now standing and yelling towards the ring, and I'll run backstage, and I might see like, is there timing? What's going on? We're coming out soon, but that's only if I've like mentioned it on the mic a few times. But that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, oh, he came out, dude. He's in the main event later. Like, he was getting ready. He was taping up, like whatever, The one time CM Punk came out in a towel or with one boot on and stuff like that, I guess that's for the guys who overthink it. The guys who are backstage overthinking it. Like, well, what's taking me so long? Why am I betraying my buddy? It's like, okay, you're putting your shoes on. Okay, fine.
So there we go. That was that. Overall, like this match. The next match was for the WWE Tag Team Championships, the SmackDown side. The Wyatt Six, represented by Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, versus the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Thank you, WWE and the Street Profits, for reminding me that there is a new Borderlands game coming out in just a few weeks, as they were cosplaying as some Borderlands characters. So kudos to them for that drop.
Make that money. And they looked pretty goddamn cool, I gotta admit.
They did. They really did.
So Street Profits. And like, I didn't know they were teasing this breakup so heavily. Like, when did this start?
It's random. I shouldn't say it's random. I haven't watched the fully like sat down and watched SmackDown in full. I do skip stuff here and there because it is a frickin' Friday. Boris needs his life sometimes. But it's weird because like it feels like it's being done very hastily. Right at the start of the match, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford were disagreeing on who was going to start the match. And again, Wade Barrett, this is something that you need to decide in the back before the match. Is this a distraction?
Yeah, okay, like he's trying to play it off as a distraction from them to like throw off his opponents. If that's what he was doing there, hey, great idea. But let's think about what we really want from wrestling. Like, why would we criticize this? And in the opposite, we criticized Austin Theory and Grayson Waller taking so long to break up and teasing things forever, and now Theory's hurt and it's just gone away. And like, who only has a discussion after being together all week in cars and whatnot? Who only has their discussion about their issues on live TV or whatnot? But if you were really a tag team that was together all the time and traveling, and you suddenly had an issue with each other, something that might have been bubbling up here and there, and you finally like hashed it out on the way to freaking goddamn Paris, and you're like this, you're having an argument in the airport or whatever, and you're finally in the ring after not talking for most of the day, and you're having attitude. And it's like, now this is real. You're like, where's this coming from? Well, it came from the fact that for the last few weeks they've been beefing, and now today, this afternoon, they've had a fucking fight. Sorry to swear. But now they're in the ring, and for the first time ever, we're seeing it. Like, this is kind of real. Like, if you and I got in a fight, we wouldn't build it up for weeks and then have a blow off. Like, I'd stop talking to you for a few days, and then you'd be like, "Hey, are we cool?" I'd be like, "Yeah, we're cool." Right? That's how it kind of works.
Sunday. That's how.
Yeah,
that's how we would
exactly.
settle it.
So, like, this might be more realistic. So now that we're talking about it, I kind of like it. Especially, I liked it with the fact that they had different outfits on. They're all like, "Yo, I'm feeling this outfit. Fuck, F you. I'm feeling my oats here, and I'm sick of your ass."
Yep. Dawkins looked great in this match. I have to say, he did a swanton. He usually doesn't go off the top rope. He's so freaking good. Montez Ford is always good. Wyatt Six looked pretty damn good. I've always been a fan of Joe Gacy. I don't know why. I've just always liked his style, even in the indies. And he did exactly what I thought he would do here, and that is take an ass kicking, and it was great.
Yeah, I agree with you about Dawkins. I was going to say that. I don't know about the moves or whatnot, but he is one of the most improved guys on the roster for a guy who toiled in NXT forever and then finally got up to the roster. Like, what I was about to say before you started talking is he seems dangerous now. And when he stopped
Sorry, I was going to say, and I think with the teases of the split, this is a perfect time for him to kind of individualize and make himself stand out.
Yeah, and like putting his hand on Montez's chest. Like, he seemed, in that moment, he seemed like, don't F with me, bro. And then Montez smiling there with his like very like Eddie Murphy haircut and face and whatnot. He's like, "Hey, you want to?" And he's just like, yeah, I know you're the star here. I know you're going to make the money. I know you got the hot girlfriend. I know you got all the moves. But like, yo, don't test me today, bro. I will fuck you up. This is like, I was like, whoa, Montez seems dangerous right now. So, and you know what doesn't seem dangerous is the Wyatt Six gimmick. I love Joe Gacy too, and I loved him on the indies, and I'm not loving him that much here. I'm not loving the Wyatt Six that much.
What I'm finding with the Wyatt Six right now is that this group started off as this like paranormal, we don't know if they're earthly type of group, but now they just seem like a bunch of people who wear masks and try to scare you.
Yeah, and it kind of seems forced. Like, Nikki Cross seems goofy.
Yeah.
Joe Gacy's coming off like a Timu, like Radford. He's a bad Radford. And I still kind of see Dexter Lumis as like, is it Sam Shaw or whatever?
Sam
like,
Shaw.
Although I think this is the first time that I was kind of seeing him as himself, crawling around on the two front, crawling around on his arms and like just being weird. And he had a couple of good moves. Like, I was digging it, but overall, I feel the whole thing is very contrived. And they have a lot of potential, but they don't seem dangerous. And it really seems as though Bo is just like a weirdo laughing, like like. Yeah, they missed the boat. It's giving me Cajun Cope feelings of like, man, 3 years ago this might have been cool, but they missed that momentum of that time when Triple H had just taken over and they had all the lights go out at the end of the show and all the characters started showing up in the audience with their masks on. And even though that was very cheesy, like, man, it was cool.
That was special.
They've missed it. Whatever it was, it ain't there no more.
Nikki Cross grabs Ford. Stuff happens. We get a Sister Abigail. The Wyatt Six retain. And the peasants rejoice. We are going to move on to the next match, which was for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Your champion, Becky Lynch, versus Nikki Bella. We talked about this at the top of the show. Hutch, what else do you got about this match?
What took so long? The linchpin. The linchpin. Like you were dissing Wade Barrett earlier, I thought a little bit. Like, what took so long for people to come up with the linchpin? I love it. As a commentator, I have made up the name of a lot of moves for people. And they're like, dude, I love the name. I'm keeping that. We booked Jeff Cobb for a few shows, and I was like, you need a submission. Call it the cobweb. You got to tie a guy up. And he's like, oh, I love that idea. And he never did it. But the linchpin was the best part of the whole match, just the call of the linchpin. But
making fun of Wade Barrett. I love Wade Barrett. But
yeah,
you're 100% right. And this is the thing. Like, this is what I mean. Wade Barrett picks up. It's like he thinks like the fans would be thinking, and he sometimes drops some knowledge on us that would kind of, not allow us to nitpick at certain things. And that's what I really appreciate about Wade Barrett. That's like, he does that better than anyone else, better than Corey Graves, better than anyone. He picks up on those little things that he knows the fans would be nitpicking on, and he kind of tries to fill in the gap. But the linchpin was fantastic. I actually had that underlined, not once, not twice, but thrice.
Well, I got the 3 pins, so it should be. But yeah, he's a funny dude, and like the timbre of his voice mixed with the English accent, and like, dude, he's just great. So you asked me what I thought about the women's Intercontinental Championship match. I think Wade Barrett is awesome. That's what I think about it. No, okay. I it seems a little lewd, but I thought she looked pretty damn sexy, like in there with Becky. Honestly, for the first time ever, I was looking at her for the first time ever, kind of like, damn, and I never used to do that. I don't know why. I never really look at women wrestlers and like think of them as sexual objects ever. It's just wrestling to me. But I was kind of like, damn, girl, you looking good. Red light therapy, like at her age and all that stuff. Like, give me some of them like stem cells or whatever's going on. Can I be rich? Rich people look good.
I know, right? No. I agree 100% with you. Like, it's always weird seeing how some people talk about the women. Like, I'll make jokes for obvious things, but that sounded really bad, but you know what I mean. But yeah, she looked damn good. Didn't look good in the ring, but she looked good. Becky Lynch ends up winning, linchpin, the roll up. Perfect way to end this. Let us move on to the next match, which was a street fight of sorts. We had Sheamus versus Rusev in their rubber match and a good old Donnybrook match. This match, I guess, just happened for me. I had a feeling Rusev was going to win. You had some cool spots. You got when they did the what's it called? The what's his finisher? The Accolade on the barrels. You could have made that the new Crackle Barrel logo because everyone's mad about something nowadays. Those were my thoughts.
That'd be good. Somebody should make like a stencil or stamps type logo, like the Roman Reigns like Nike logo, except it's Rusev on the barrel, giving Sheamus the thing. But yeah, like what I was saying, the whole card was kind of predictable. This is what I thought. It's exactly what it's going to be. A bit of shenanigans, a bit of a Donnybrook. They're going to beat each other up. Rusev's going to win, and it's not going to be anything like Sheamus and Gunther was. Sheamus is getting old. He's got stenosis. Rusev is starting to look like too healthy. Like I was saying before, he's getting thin, but in like the healthy kind of way. He's getting older and healthy, and he's missing, I don't know, like this is great and all, but I miss like God's warrior, like I've been forsaken by God, like what, I can't remember the name of the character, the Redeemer, like the Redeemer Rusev, like had it going on, man. I don't know if this is too much, if this has too much going on.
I feel like he's gone back to normal mid-card WWE Rusev. It's funny because when he, like, at first when he came back after WrestleMania, some of his promos were very much Redeemer-like, but now he's just like there beating people up for the name of Bulgaria.
Yeah, man, you got to let this guy let his inner Solo Sikoa loose. Like, Miro's a funny dude, man. Like, Rusev Day and all that shit, and he's like a gamer. Like, he's a funny guy. And, like, it's even some of his posts, like, once they're done with this man meat, tough guy shit, like, once he's on the roster for a few years, maybe he'll get a chance to be funny again, and he might actually get over. But I don't think this is going to get him over.
Agreed. I'm curious, and here's the thing. His matches with Sheamus are typically good, but it kind of leaves me, okay, what's next? And that's my question for Rusev, Hutch. What is next for Rusev? I don't think you can answer that. I know I can't answer that. So WWE on Raw, let us know what's next for Rusev.
Yeah, and leave a comment below. What do you think is next for Rusev? Subscribe now.
Hit that subscribe. Leave a review. Boom. All right. John Cena versus Logan Paul was next. John Cena. That crowd. That entrance. That's what wrestling is about.
These entrances make me realize that the heel turn was bad, and we all know it was bad, but it had the possibility to be good. Like, they just screwed it up. But these are the entrances that make you realize, oh yeah, they never should have. For the storyline of John Cena being face all the way up to WrestleMania, shaking Cody's hands, two faces in the main event, and Cena realizing, I haven't won a singles match in like 8 years or however long it was, like 4 years or some shit, and having to cheat at the end to win. And then not even being heel, but just maybe being a little sanctimonious for a while or something. Like, it would have worked a lot better, and he could have still had a bit of a heel run, but it got way more pops. And like all those pops while he was heel, you know, all the times he wasn't able to say, let's get down to business and run to the ring and get a little more of a pop as he was running and all that stuff. Like, he had to be this great character. Like, man, did he ever do a great job with something that ended up being saddled with that was shit, and that we all hate, and that now he regrets. But man, it was awesome. The things about it that were awesome. But these entrances are what make me realize it should have been this the whole time.
Right. And this is what I said. It's funny because a few months ago I said, I don't remember if this was on this show or a show that I guested on, but I said, John Cena will not be able to be a heel when Peacemaker Season 2 comes out. The timing of everything was actually hilarious, so I'm going to Barry Horowitz myself on that one. But, yeah, it's just impossible during the man's retirement tour at this point, in this stage, with X number of appearances left, to hate this man. And Hutch, he's having great matches. His last couple matches have been fantastic. And as Wade Barrett said, Paul has earned respect, and if you think otherwise, you are dead inside.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could have been good, the whole thing, but it wasn't. But thank God these matches are good. And Logan Paul, like I said at the very beginning here, he's such a natural. Wade Barrett's such a natural. Funny enough that you're mentioning him again. Wade Barrett's like the star of this show for you and me, it seems. Yeah, I mean, a great match all around. Logan Paul's doing his thing, the Maverick, and he They gave the fans what they wanted. And it almost seems like, you know, people were saying that Forbidden Door is kind of like a not really a show. It's kind of like they just slap it together and it means nothing. And these clashes, they slap them together and they mean nothing. But for a show that meant nothing, like, dude, Logan Paul always gets sent to these nothing shows like Saudi Arabia and all these weird shows, but he brings it and he brings it hard. And it's hard to think one day we're going to miss him and he's going to be a champion one day and he'll be a Hall of Famer one day. And we might actually be able to look back and be like, yo, he was really a pro wrestler, you know? And I was really, at one point, I thought, if there was ever a screw up, like, these are, you know, Logan Paul has thankfully not screwed up bad enough where people can say, yeah, he shouldn't be in there, you know, and making Jelly Roll look good and making other guys look good. Although if we're going to talk about ROH later, man, the celebrity on that show sure brought it. Celebrities were doing it these days.
Mo-Man brought it and then some at ROH. We're going to be talking about that in just a few moments here on KPHR. You are listening to KPHR. We are talking WWE Clash of the Castle right now. We are heading to the main event, a fatal four-way match. By the way, John Cena won that match. Fatal four-way match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight. Again, this match, I wasn't really shocked or surprised or anything by the end, except for the possibility and the doors opening for a possible AJ Lee return, even though I think it would make more sense for it to be Bayley. But here we are.
Yeah, well, we got the girl sliding in at the end, but it just wasn't what you thought.
Yeah.
It wasn't AJ Lee returning, is what I'm saying. It was Becky Lynch coming in at the end.
My mind just went somewhere it should not have gone. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? You completely derailed me, and I absolutely love that for this show sometimes. But yeah, Becky Lynch shows up, saves the day for Rollins. Rollins does a stomp on a chair, gets the pin. Oh yeah, here's what I was going to say. I saw one of the funniest comments on the internet, basically comparing the Vision and the group to the Death Riders. And someone said, "Oh look, basement bargain Marina Shafir joins the Vision." And I just laughed so hard because I know this person wasn't being fully serious, but you know how tribalistic some fans are.
It's funny. I almost thought the same thing right away. Like I thought of Marina Shafir, and I'm like, yeah, now they've got a badass chick in their main faction. And I started to think about my Roderick Strong theory and things that I won't get into right here because we don't have all night to talk about it. But hell of a match, LA Knight. I don't know if it's ever really gonna happen for him, man. He seems just a little past his prime, a little too cheesy. There's things I would change about his moves and about his presentation, and I'm not sure if it's ever gonna really happen for him. But for me, spot of the night, I can't believe I'm about to put over a CM Punk elbow drop, but spot of the night was the Uso splash into the elbow drop and Uso's selling of it bent in half, all jackknifed. Like, that was pretty freaking awesome, man. I dug that.
I know, right? Like, in 2025, you're putting over an elbow drop. Think of that. Think how talented the people in the ring have to be for us to talk about an elbow drop.
Well, WWE is able to milk. If you want to go back to the very beginning of the show, Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed, they milked those freaking shoulder blocks for a while, and the crowd was red hot. And not that you can't do that in an AEW ring. I mean, you can get Ospreay making faces to the crowd and whoa, and trying to move, and a guy ducks out of the way. They're not shoulder blocking each other at AEW, but they might duck out of the way and do a flip and do their Ricochet Ospreay style stuff for a while, and maybe they can get a Rock and Hogan type response from the crowd, oh yeah, but it's not the same. And at WWE, it's easy. It's like when at one of my shows, when it's very obvious that 80% of the crowd is hipsters looking for something to do on a Thursday rather than wrestling fans. And you can milk a freaking back rake for 45 seconds to a minute, and they're all booing you, and guys are like, that match was easy as all hell, dude. Your crowd was awesome. That's what it was for these guys. They can milk the hell out of everything, and the AEW crowd, they don't sit on their hands, but they're tough to impress. So going back to the main event, I don't know why I mentioned how easy it was. What made me go over to that?
Elbow drop, the fact that we were gushing over an elbow drop. But that's the thing, WWE does this. They know how to capitalize on these simple things, and like you said, it might be the sickos that make it hard for AEW, right? There's a reason why Will Ospreay is always at 110%, because that's the expectation from the crowd, whereas a WWE crowd, this show is a perfect example of you can get great reactions for pretty simple wrestling, and it's not a bad thing. It's a thing.
It's a good thing. Insert a DDP clip here.
Yeah, exactly. We're both doing.
I think if you were to go back, DDP, a little bit of a health thing going on right now. So hopefully he recovers because he's doing God's work right now. But I think if you were to go backstage and talk to a Pritchard or a Michael Hayes or an old school guy, they might. One of their theories might be something like, I'm pulling this out of my ass, but they might turn to you and say, hey, no matter what you do tonight, they're only going to remember 2 spots. You could do 100 spots, they're going to remember 2. You could do 5, they're going to remember 2. He's like, they only remember 2. And so when I think about the main event, the lights out cage match, I can think of the Will Ospreay's elbow to the back of the head when they did the One Wing Angel, bam, that was a hell of a move onto the Young Buck. And I'm trying to think of another big move that happened in that match right now, and it's dude, they went balls to the freaking walls, and I'm trying to remember that. And I guess they jumped off the top of the cage, Gabe Kidd and Darby. I can't remember half of everything that happened. But in a WWE match, putting over an elbow drop is part and parcel of the same strategy of these guys plan out their match a lot different than these AEW indie marks. They know that was going to be a huge memorable spot. And I can tell you that I remember it right now, and there might only be another 10 major spots throughout the match, not another freaking 100. And so these guys are not only saving their bodies, but they're giving us what we want. They're spoon feeding us in small amounts, and they are making those moments. For me, that was a moment in the entire pay-per-view. It was great.
All right. That was the show. Real quick. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Because of the crowd and because of what it is and the new direction, if you like WWE's direction, then this was a good show. Do I want all these shows overseas all the time and paying like thousands of dollars for seats? And do I think it's healthy, the 5-match card, and think aspects of it? Some of it, no. Some of it, yes. But if you agree with the WWE vision, I think this was a pretty damn good show for them.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with you on that. We are here on KPHR and Hutch. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk some ROH. We're going to talk some Sami Zayn. And we will see what else we can talk about in the next 20-ish minutes here on KPHR. And just remember, you are listening to A Plus Wrestling, and we'll be right back.
This is Joseph Vendetti from Barbarian Bar Fitness, your source for Canadian-made functional fitness equipment built for the grind. Pro wrestling doesn't take an off-season. It's 52 weeks of punishing work in and out of the ring. That's why we designed versatile, battle-tested gear to help you train harder, recover smarter, and stay ready for the spotlight. Our mission? To empower wrestlers, coaches, and athletes with equipment that elevates your performance and amplifies your impact. Visit barbarianbarfitness.com and unleash your potential.
And we are back here on KPHR, and you're listening to A Plus Wrestling. He is Hutch. I am Boris. Hutch, I almost said he's Boris, I'm Hutch. This is how excited I am to talk about some Ring of Honor. It was a Death Before Dishonor from Philadelphia 2300 Arena. Overall, I really enjoyed this show. I think if you were to tell someone, like a comic book, you're a huge comic nerd, I'm a huge comic nerd, and people always ask me, what is a good jumping on point? My friend, this would be a good jumping on point for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can understand why you're tired if you have to try and acclimate or take in this kind of 4.5 hour Ring of Honor show. Like, my God, I didn't realize. I started with the 0 hour and didn't realize. So this was a long show. There was a lot to pull in. There was a lot of good matches. But if you want to be JD from New York, he's going to say, where's the storylines? Just all these matches. Man, that was a great match. Who cares? But if you care, like the people in Philly obviously did, because this crowd was just as hot as any Paris crowd, let me tell you. They were hot from beginning to end and made the whole show worth watching. I watched the whole thing while working in my backyard on a screen I had back there. And it was a long slog, but it was some really good stuff, man. Yeah. It really was. You might be right. This is a good jumping on point if you want to watch that much wrestling.
If you want to, but that's what you are committing to when you're watching a AEW branded product, whether it be AEW main roster or the ROH roster. You're getting a 5-hour show. We're gonna jump straight to the main card. We started off with the premier athletes Arya Daivari and Tony Nese versus the conglomeration of Tomohiro Ishii and Hologram. You know, talk about random tag teams that just made me happy. Ishii and Hologram just worked.
Yeah, like I keep thinking the way I look back at old ROH stuff, will people maybe look at this one day, look back on stuff like this? But, hey, if we're going to talk Hologram, Collision the next night, Hologram Negro, Evil. Like the clone. I know who's under the Hologram mask. And I know who's underneath the clone hologram mask too, which I don't think many people do. And I think this is all like pretty cool. But if we're gonna go through this entire card, like I think my brain is gonna explode, and that's almost part of the problem. What I loved about ROH was it was kind of like a touring brand, especially with the Honor Club at the end. You could go in and literally watch on a Wednesday night live from like Ohio in some gym where they were doing something. And even though ROH is alive and well in many ways, it's still very much a Tony Khan product. And, this was a lot to take in. And now with the women's pure title tournament and the women's interim women's television champion and this channel, like, wow, it's a lot to take in.
AKA, I call the women's pure title, AKA the Deonna Purrazzo title, because there's no way she's not going to be getting that title.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But if we quickly whip through the card, Shane Taylor Promotions grabbing the 6-man titles because Dustin Rhodes, with both knees being done, he had to relinquish all the titles that he had. And, the Von Erichs getting screwed over by Sami Zayn, who brought in Roosh to be his tag team partner. Yeah.
Guevara.
And Sammy Guevara screwing over the Von Erichs, bringing in Roosh to be his tag team partner, and now joining I was going to say LIJ, now joining Los Ingobernables. And I just think it's pretty awesome, and you got Dralistico there. He won the $50,000 4-way match earlier, and these guys aren't winning this money; they're on contracts or whatnot.
What?
But that was pretty cool. So the tag team.
You're telling me when they say 10,000 pesos are up for grabs, they're not getting it?
Was it pesos? Because that might make more sense. But no,
dollars.
obviously they are not. But man, a lot of titles, a lot of stuff. Lee Moriarty kind of winning me over here once again, like a great match. And it's becoming like a luchador promotion. In a lot of ways. He's bringing in his CMML guys. I want to try and remember his name. I keep seeing the way his name is spelled, and I know that that's not his name. But Shelwa, my first time actually seeing him, and I love the Ave style, that Jorge Rivera style of wrestling, and he definitely has it. But Lee Moriarty doing a hell of a job with that match. But just titles. And Hetrocero, who I'd loved for a long time, and I'm glad to see him doing well and getting a paycheck. Man, is Bandito wrestler of the year? Like the Takeshita match, this match, the tag team match, coming back from a broken foot, a broken this and that. And dude, this kid, if he keeps this up for the rest of the year, he could be wrestler of the year, in my opinion.
I feel like I told you that last night. I was setting up to tell you that right now he might be penciled in on my year-end male wrestler of the year.
Yeah, man, and that's where I kind of think ROH is cool. Like these Philly fans were obviously wrestling fans, and they wanted to come and get an overdose of wrestling, and they sure as hell got it. If you are a wrestling fan and you're rolling your eyes and you're having conversations about AEW, WWE, and this and that, and you get a little sick of how New Japan stars are all getting stolen, and go watch some ROH. These guys are doing their best. And I tell you, the QT Marshall match with is it Paul Walter Howard, man, one hell of a match. I did not know this guy was trying to be a wrestler, but what a hardcore match these guys had, and the celebrities are certainly stepping up. So instead of going through every single match, I would just be an advocate of this show. You're right, if you want to jump on with ROH, man, this might be the show to do it. And once again, Athena coming out with a win.
Absolutely. So some of the notes for me was, the Sammy Guevara and the Von Erichs was I love Shane Taylor Promotions. I've talked to Shane Taylor many times. He's awesome. So happy that he's doing his thing and he gets a 6-man title. The women's pure stuff, cool. That's all I got to say about that. The Kingdom. The Kingdom is one of those weird things where I'm just always just weirded out. I'm just not a big fan of both Matt Taven and Mike Bennett's in-ring work. But I do actually, as people, I think they're freaking awesome. Lee Moriarty. You brought up Lee Moriarty. This is the Lee Moriarty that I used to constantly watch in MLW and say, this guy is going to be something in a few years.
Yeah, man. I like that he's straight edge. I kind of like a lot of what he does outside of the ring.
Yes.
But I'm glad that he's keeping himself busy in ROH and doing his thing. It almost seems like he's perfectly happy to just do this. He doesn't look like a fame chaser, but they could do more with him.
Yeah.
But he's one of the ROH stalwarts right now. And if you took this product away, which, I think I want to start up maybe an episode or talk with you in the future about this, but what they could do with ROH. But if you watch it in a bubble, I mean, this was pretty good, and it's in a small way, it warms my heart to see that these pay-per-views, these PLEs, these names, and this product is continuing on. Just like Shane Taylor, I think Tony Khan is the kind of guy who, no matter how much he gets beaten down, no matter how much he gets told it's not going to happen, no matter how many adversities he has to jump over, he's going to keep going and going and going and going because this is his dream. That's one of the things I respect about Shane Taylor. When I first saw him, I thought, this guy, give me a break. When he was teaming with Keith Lee and wearing the full bodysuit and was way heavier. And now I adore him. He's one of my favorite wrestlers, and I hope he takes over the world. And Tony Khan, who kind of got on my nerves for a while, like I'm kind of supporting Tony in some ways. And I think they're both guys, along with a lot of other people you could put on this list, but they have that mentality where they're never going to stop. And so, you know, I do love him, and I like that this product still exists. And maybe one day, if he stops, maybe somebody will take it over. Because the thing that makes me feel weird about it is it feels like Tony Khan's side project as opposed to a real viable league.
I'm going to pose to you this question that I've always talked about with other people. Should ROH continue as they are and try to be kind of like their own thing? Or should Tony Khan just admit what ROH is, and that is the developmental of AEW?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it should just be a touring brand. It should be like an indie touring brand where when they go, he should grab himself like 24 stars. They tour all year, and they use local stars when they go there. You know, put Jay Lethal on the brand. You know, there's way too much. I've thought about this way too much to give you like a quick answer of all the things that I think they could and would and should do with ROH. But, you know, the bottom line is that world title doesn't seem like a world title because, you know, it's his secondary brand.
That's why I say call it the ROH title. Like, make it feel more like an NXT brand more than anything else, than something that is trying to be a complete independent type of promotion.
I guess so. I'm such a huge fan of the brand and of the title and of the history. I don't want to downgrade it.
I know. But the unfortunate part is like it's that's where we're at. It's downgraded without it being made official. Without Tony Khan, you know, doing some proclamation, declaration. That's what it is.
Well, it's because all the other titles in AEW, like the ROH title, the ROH World Championship, could be the secondary title of AEW, you know, and it's like you're fighting for that as if it was the international or continental or whatever title. And then you're coming on ROH TV and you're doing your promos, and you might have like a Ric Flair style match against a jabroni like Cheeseburger and beat him in 5 minutes. But then the guy comes out and is like, you at the PLE, I got you, champ. And it's like, you know, you see them on ROH TV, on AEW TV. So they're putting over the ROH product, which is like strictly online or strictly on a service or on YouTube, which might be happening soon. They might go straight YouTube. But it's a part of AEW, but it's still considered really valuable. Like the way they're doing it now, it's just odd. And hopefully one day in the future, they figure out what they're doing, but there's too much. Like, I didn't realize they had so many damn titles over there, and now they're making more. Like, but I don't know. I'm glad it's still around.
Yeah, Bandito and Hechicero, 40-minute classic, and Athena doing what Athena does, and in my opinion, still carrying the ROH brand. Athena, one of the many now. Before, I used to say the only thing worth watching ROH for. Now I will say she's one of the many things worth watching ROH for. But her and Mina Shirakawa went. It was a great match. About 30 minutes. Fun stuff. Athena continues the reign. 1,000+ days. Again, I'm going to say it, what I said at the top of the segment. If you're asking us when to jump onto ROH, right now I think is a perfect time to do so. There's some really cool stuff happening, some new belts, much to Hutch's chagrin, but you're getting some classic matchups and some potential match of the year candidates here in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, for sure. I don't feel like they're an underdog anymore. You know, I can't root for Ring of Honor to become a better product, but I don't root for them to continue existing and fighting, because now I know that they're just like paid for by Tony Khan. You know, it's almost like Athena right now. Like, her getting pinned is going to be the biggest shock in the world because she's no longer an underdog. She's the boss babe. She's forever champ, right? So maybe they can reclaim some of that. But I enjoyed it.
In my opinion, there's only one person that can honestly beat Athena, and that's Billy Starks. Like, the way that they've set up this whole minion and training stuff. By the way, love the Blue Meanie appearance.
That was good.
Billy Starks is the only person who can beat Athena, in my opinion.
All right. So Billy Starks is the new underdog. Let's see.
That's who I think. All right, Hutch, you wanted to talk some Sami Zayn. What is up?
Well, that's why I was hitting you with the words underdog. I was like, figured I wanted to talk about Sami Zayn and kind of what I think might be WWE's like serious, like Sami Zayn problem that they've created. Like, Sami Zayn can bury anyone and it's not a burial because he's this like weird fake underdog from the underground, except he's in the main event all the time and he kicks everybody's ass. I'm starting to not have go away heat or like X-Pac heat. I'm just having like apathy. Like there's no surprise to him winning because he's now beating everyone and wagging his finger at people and like being sanctimonious and like, yeah, I kind of want Sami Zayn to F off. Okay, before I give you my full rundown, like, how do you personally feel about Sami Zayn and the fact that it's very obvious where they're going to go with Sami Zayn?
Well, I'm seeing a lot more interesting comments about Sami Zayn. Might be some political views, might be some personal views. That's not for this conversation. But I think just from a pure booking perspective, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. And I think that most people with Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia are expecting him to win the Royal Rumble, hence, therefore, expecting him to win at WrestleMania. So where are you going to build said underdog story from your biggest underdog, but we know that he's not an underdog because he's going to win the Royal Rumble and going to WrestleMania to win a belt?
Well, it makes sense. He's the only guy on the roster that speaks like Arabic fluently, so he can go there and he can promo and do stuff afterwards. And yeah, but I mean, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna have to treat him like Cody Rhodes. He's gonna have to either lose the Rumble or lose at Mania, because him winning at Mania is like, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. He already beat Gunther. He's already been in the main event. He's already done all the stuff. And like, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting like Big Brother syndrome.
What if he goes heel and defeats Cody?
He could go heel. I could see him going heel to like garner more interest, or going heel after losing the main event of WrestleMania. But when he's a heel, he's a goofy heel. I mean, he had his fourth Intercontinental reign, almost seemed like his only one, because the other ones all happened when he was like goofy freaking conspiracy theory Sami Zayn and having slap matches with the jackass guys and stuff. And even though that has its place, like, that's heel Sami Zayn to me. Heel Sami Zayn isn't dangerous, he's goofy. But babyface Sami Zayn, you love him. Or
can I give you a scenario? I'll throw a scenario to you. All right, Sami Zayn wins the Rumble. He turns heel at the road to WrestleMania. Why? Because he's here to take out Cody Rhodes, who took out his best friend, Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I mean, okay. But I mean, Kevin Owens is going to come back and be like a total baby face.
That's the problem. It will be impossible to keep Kevin Owens as a heel when he comes back.
It's going to be hard to make Sami Zayn a heel as well, with all of the groundwork that they've done. But like I was saying, it's got a bad taste in my mouth. Like, just now you said that's the problem, but I started this whole thing by saying we have a Sami Zayn problem, and the problem goes back for years. Like, we're going to WrestleMania 42 just happened, right?
41.
Okay. Well, I remember, then I guess it would only be about 3 years ago now. So it happened pretty quickly. It was well before WrestleMania 39. They started the whole Chad Gable thing. Yeah. And like, Chad Gable beat Gunther. Then this is when Gunther felt unbeatable and dangerous. And he beat him with like that count out win. And then they had him fight back where his daughter ended up crying, and he was fighting Super Boss Gunther and just couldn't beat him. And then they had the gauntlet match, and Bronson Reed, I guess, getting buried there too. Like, Sami Zayn came out, beat Bronson Reed, beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, this is a guy who back then, like 3-4 years ago, we still kind of thought Shinsuke was kind of cool, something going on. And then Chad Gable comes out and he loses as well. And so he doesn't get to go on to face Gunther at WrestleMania and his daughter crying and finally winning the title. They give it to Sami, and he had no storyline with Gunther. He just said one day, I want the Intercontinental title. I want a reign. And the same way he's like, I want the world title. And I want just now the U.S. title he just won. He literally said when he came back, he's like, I want that U.S. title. And he's like taking it from Solo, who's like doing his best character work since he's come back. Stone-faced enforcer Solo was cool and all, but like, I love this Solo, like dancing in the ring, like, like he's like the new Ricochet. I love it. But Sami wins this gauntlet, goes to WrestleMania, beats Gunther. He's already been a WrestleMania main eventer. Now he's winning his fourth Intercontinental title, and they're talking about it like it's the greatest thing that ever happened. And then like, he gives Gable I think the first shot and like beats Gable, and Gable, like, that's when Gable turned heel on him, but then he beat him again. And then he beat him again, and he finally said, that's it. That's enough for you. So Gable turned heel and didn't get anything out of it, didn't win the title or heel out on Sami Zayn, cheat to win, and give Sami a reason to chase the title that he just lost after, his greatest win ever at Gunther, and now this little shit just took it from me. No, Gable just has to eat crap, right? And so, like, where's the underdog here? He beat Braun Breaker, Braun Breaker's first ever loss. And he was too hyper-focused on this and beats Braun Breaker. Beats Karrion Kross recently. Is the last time we ever see Kross. People are literally chanting, we want Kross, we want Kross. Sami Zayn beats him. Oh, Braun Breaker, we love Braun Breaker. Sami beats him. Oh, Chad Gable, the ultimate underdog. Oh, Sami beats him. And it's not a burial because Sami's the he's like the anti-monitor from the Crisis on Infinite Earths. He just like sucks everybody's freaking like energy into him, and somehow it doesn't matter. But he's like, Sami. It's like the beard, like shave his beard or something like Samson. Maybe he'll lose his powers. Like, I don't know what to say, but like Kevin Owens, if he comes back, it's his chance to like have Foley style promos where he's he's once again, because I feel like Kevin Owens was right the whole time that he was mad at Cody. It was like, Kevin is right and Drew McIntyre is right. Like, now Kevin is going to be right when he comes back, and he's like, you're not the underdog, you're the champion of this place, you're like king of the freaking world, underdog my ass. Like, you've been freaking drinking the sauce and kissing ass, and here you are, and it's like, I don't know. I don't like it.
What they can do. I don't know if they'll do it, if they'll pull the trigger on it, but maybe that's the whole thing. It's like someone calls him out for that bullshit where people say, you're not an underdog, you're just feeding the crowd all this BS and they buy it type of stuff.
Yeah, you're right. And maybe they will do that. But I mean, that'll have to happen after he's champion, maybe standing there, and he could be like, pointing at the belt. He's like, you're not the underdog. I mean, look, you got the damn belt. I'm proud of you and all, but like, I also kind of hate how sanctimonious you've been throughout this whole thing, Mr. Good Guy. You think you're such a good guy? Like, for me, from Rumble till Mania, it's going to be a great win. He's going to have a huge pop when he wins the title. Hey, Sami Zayn did it, the ultimate underdog. But for me, there's going to be no tension. There's no sympathy. This is the guy who like totally buried Chad Gable when we all desperately wanted Shorty G to finally get his thing. He just got rid of Kross. So no sympathy, no tension. There'll really be no surprise. It'll be like a fake surprise, So like the LOL Cena wins is now LOL Sammy wins. Like, that's what it's going to be. He just like shat on Solo and basically Jacob Fatu in the same like fell swoop. And now he's like teaming up with Jacob Fatu, just like the new bloodline. Now that he's on SmackDown, the three of them, Sammy's back, leading guys who don't need to be led. Jimmy Uso is like more over than he's ever been with like the baby and the smiley face and like, hey, I'm just like the dude. I'm like everybody's bro. I'm just kind of lucky to be here. And everybody loves him now, especially his new outfits. Everybody loves Jacob Fatu, but now Sammy's got to be there. He's got to be the altruistic guy, like leading the new bloodline against whatever, Solo's thing is. Like, he needs the Cody treatment. He needs to get to Mania and lose. And then he needs to lose and lose and lose and lose so that you have sympathy for him again when the next Mania comes and he finally wins after a year of hell. 2026 becomes for Sami Zayn. Or else what the hell is the point of any of this? That is the Sami Zayn problem. The fact that he is such a good dude. El Generico gives all of his like Battle of Los Angeles tournament money to like charity every year. Like, I love El Generico. I love this human being. I've booked him in the past. But I don't know if I like what will be world champion Sami Zayn. I feel like the whole thing is obvious, sanctimonious, and they've been like pushing it for way too long. It's over. It's over for me. Like the thrill is gone. BB King.
Well
the thrill's
said.
gone.
Well said, my friend Hutch. You can leave all comments on that on the Facebook group. All you need to do is go to the facebook.com and search for A+, that's EH+, Productions, and join the group. And you can let Hutch know what you think, if you agree or disagree with the Sami Zayn problem. Also, Hutch, you have a YouTube page where you do rants like this. Let the listeners know where they can go.
Well, hopefully you just listened to this rant on my YouTube page, which is at Hutch Henry's. Or, you can check us out on Podbean or on Cat Power Radio and all that stuff, the EH Productions. But yeah, at Hutch Henry's on all your socials, at Demand Lucha. Check out my promotion, and then you can say like, dude, I just watched your promotion. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You need to give up. And you should comment that below, and then people can agree with you, and then the algorithm can be like, wow, people really like this guy. And then I can totally screw you over, and you won't even know it.
You could be the Sami Zayn problem in the future. From underdog
exactly,
to
right?
perennial whatever.
Exactly, right? They're like, we hate this guy, and like, I'll get ahead because of it. Please, leave your hate below.
I absolutely love it. aplusproductions.com is where you can go. You can go to any podcasting app and search for A Plus Productions or A Plus Wrestling. Hit that subscribe, leave a review. Hutch, as always, it has been an awesome hour talking pro wrestling with you. We will be back next week, quite possibly, with a third person. I'm going to leave it NWO style, there's might be a third person joining us in the next couple of weeks to talk all about the week that was and the week that will be pro wrestling. You've been listening to A Plus Wrestling here on KPHR. Thank you so much for listening, but more importantly, stay tranquilo.